Moving to the crisis at the Capitol, a police car sits outside the Capitol building, blocking the intersection. Fencing also surrounds the landmark. These are just some of the measures being put in place following last week's riot. The House of Representatives is preparing to impeach President Trump for a second time. Deborah Alfarone reports for WJZ. CBS News has learned Trump is preparing to ride out this final week and a half, despite growing calls to resign.
A growing number of Republicans say President Trump should leave office now.
To resign and go away as soon as possible.
I think the best thing for the country to heal would be for him to resign.
But with resignation unlikely, Democrats are looking at other options to hold President Trump responsible for the assault on the U.S. Capitol.
Nothing is off the table.
In an interview with 60 Minutes, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said she prefers the 25th Amendment to immediately remove the president from office.
Because it gets rid of him. He's out of office. But there is strong support in the Congress for impeaching the president a second time.
House Democrats will attempt to pass a resolution this week calling on Vice President Mike Pence and the cabinet to act. If they do not, Democrats say they will introduce articles of impeachment.
Every minute and every hour that he is in office represents a clear and present danger.
A draft article, Incitement of Insurrection, alleges that President Trump's conduct on Wednesday gravely endangered the security of the United States.
We will never give up. We will never concede.
The House could wait months to send the articles to the Senate. If convicted, even after his term, it would prevent Mr. Trump from running again in 2024.
Let's give President-elect Biden the 100 days he needs to get his agenda off and running.
Yesterday, police held a procession on Capitol Hill for Officer Brian Sicknick, who died from injuries he sustained in the riot. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
Governor Larry Hogan says President Trump is responsible for inciting the riots at the Capitol, adding that he's ashamed of some GOP congresspeople who still supported the theory of a rigged election even after the attack. WJZ is live this morning. Annie Rose Ramos has more from the governor about the response from the state of Maryland. Annie Rose, good morning.
Tim, good morning. Governor Larry Hogan says just moments after he learned about last week's attack at the U.S. Capitol, he mobilized Maryland State Police and the National Guard. But it took 90 minutes for him to get the approval to send those troops into D.C., and he still doesn't know why. On CNN Sunday, Maryland Governor Larry Hogan says Wednesday's attack on the U.S. Capitol put people's lives in danger, and that President Trump played a huge role in that.
There's no question in my mind that he was responsible for inciting this riotous mob.
Hogan says as soon as he learned about the rioting, he authorized 500 members of the National Guard and a team of specially trained Maryland State Police as congressional leaders pleaded with him for help. The problem, though, it took an hour and a half to get approval to actually move those units into Washington.
The big issue is why were the Capitol Police and the federal law enforcement agencies not prepared for this?
Governor Hogan says he is embarrassed and ashamed of many GOP members of Congress for their actions leading up to and after the attack. This includes Maryland's sole Republican congressman, Andy Harris. He reportedly got into an argument on the House floor as Congress debated the election results. A Maryland delegate and the Maryland Democratic Party are calling for his resignation. But Governor Hogan hasn't said whether or not he thinks Harris should resign.
This is a time for choosing in our party, and you have to decide if we're going to return to the party of Lincoln and Reagan, or we're going to keep heading down this path of worshiping at the altar of Donald Trump. And a lot of people, I think, chose wrongly.
And Lynn, the governor, added his main concern is the peaceful transition of power. He says Maryland's National Guard contingency will remain in D.C. through next week's inauguration until the end of this month. Reporting live, I'm Annie Rose Ramos for WJZ.